On behalf of Shivaji College, University of Delhi, I respectfully and very cordially welcome the Principal Sir, Professor Shiv-Kumar Sehdev, the Cultural Committee Convener, Dr. Parna Jain Ma'am, Member of Cultural Committee and Organizer of this orientation, Dr. Sunita Singh Ma'am, and all the dear students who have assembled here today for the orientation. I would now like to invite our principal, Professor Shiv-Kumar Sehdev, sir, to say a few words to inspire the students.
Thank you very much, Simran. All the esteemed participants, team from SPIC MACAY, my colleagues and dear students, I am very happy that our culture committee has organized this today's orientation day in collaboration with SPIC MACAY. As we all know that SPIC MACAY is doing a wonderful job by enriching our culture heritage, and we are very closely associated since long back with SPIC MACAY, and we used to have many programs in collaboration with SPIC MACAY, and I am sure that my students will definitely get benefited from today's orientation program. My good wishes to all of you, and I am sure that you will enjoy the programs in future in collaboration with SPIC MACAY. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. I would now like to invite Dr. Parna Jain Ma'am, Convener of Cultural Committee, Shivaji College, to say a few words of encouragement to the students.
Thank you so much, Simran. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a very warm welcome and greetings of the day to one and all present here. It is my immense pleasure and a pleasure for Shivaji College to organize an orientation session for SPIC MACAY. Since its establishment, SPIC MACAY has played a crucial role in the preservation and promotion of Indian classical music and Indian culture among youngsters. And throughout these years, SPIC MACAY has increased the awareness about Indian heritage by conducting formal education sessions in several academic institutions. And our college has been long associated with SPIC MACAY, and every year we organize Virasat, the annual cultural festival of SPIC MACAY in our college. I would like to thank SPIC MACAY for collaborating with Shivaji College for this orientation program, and I wish and I extend my very warm regards to the team, to the organizers, to the SPIC MACAY organizers, to the students, to Dr. Sunita Singh, to our principal sir, and I wish all the best to the organizers for the successful completion of this session. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very kind and encouraging words. Now we begin the orientation with a short video. Discover yourself.
कुछ चीजों को हम छू सकते हैं, कारें, फोन, कंप्यूटर्स, आपके हाथ में लगातार चलती पेंसिल, रीबॉक के लेटेस्ट जूते, आज का अखबार। कुछ चीजें सिर्फ महसूस की जाती हैं। नई कार में बैठकर सपने पूरे होने का एहसास, नए फोन पर पहली बार अपना मनपसंद गाना, लगातार चलती पेंसिल से बना नया स्केच, आज के अखबार की हेडलाइन पढ़कर आया गुस्सा। कुछ चीजें सिर्फ महसूस की जाती। हमारा म्यूजिक, हमारा कल्चर, योगा, मेडिटेशन, हमारे फेस्टिवल, ये सब हजारों सालों से इंसान की अंदर की भूख को पूरा करते आए, वो जो महसूस की जाती है। सोसाइटी फॉर द प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडियन क्लासिकल म्यूजिक एंड कल्चर अमंगस्ट यूथ, स्पिक मैके, उन लोगों से बनी है जो महसूस करते हैं या करना चाहते हैं। बच्चे, बड़े, स्टूडेंट्स, प्रोफेशनल्स, टीचर्स, डॉक्टर्स, फर्क ये नहीं पड़ता कि आपकी उम्र या प्रोफेशन क्या है, सवाल ये है कि आप अपने को समझने के लिए किस हद तक जाएंगे। स्पिक मैके का लोगो है दी वर्टिकल आई और द इनर आई, द आई ऑफ परसेप्शन एंड इंक्वायरी। हमारे लिए म्यूजिक, कल्चर, आर्ट, हमारी सभ्यता, फिलॉसफी वो जरिए हैं जिनसे हम अपनी अमूल्य सांस्कृतिक धरोहर को समझ पाते हैं, वो धरोहर जिसको हम वक्त के साथ साथ किसी हद तक भूलते जा रहे हैं। स्पिक मैके के हाथ और कंधे हैं स्पिक मैके के वॉलंटियर्स, वो लोग जो इस तेज रफ्तार जिंदगी के बावजूद अपनी विरासत, अपनी आइडेंटिटी, हमारे देश की आत्मा और स्वरूप के साथ जुड़े रहना चाहते हैं। हर साल स्पिक मैके के देश भर में फैले वॉलंटियर्स स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हजारों इवेंट्स ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। इन इवेंट्स से हमारी सभ्यता और संस्कृति वहां पहुंचती है जहां हमारा भविष्य है, हमारा फ्यूचर है, हमारा यूथ। फिल्म, थिएटर, म्यूजिक, डांस फॉर्म्स, फोक आर्ट और इन जैसे और माध्यमों से हम लाखों लोगों तक अपनी हजारों साल की विरासत को पहुंचा पाते हैं। वो विरासत जो सिर्फ हमारी है, वो विरासत जिसको बचाना या जाने देना सिर्फ हमारे हाथ में है। वो विरासत जिसको आज हमारी जरूरत है।
The video was surely an insightful one. Now I would like to invite Shri Arun Sahai sir. Shri Arun Sahai sir graduated in mechanical engineering from IIT Kharagpur in 1969 and MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1974. He has worked for over 30 years, been with several projects ranging from diversification, modernization, corporate planning, technology transfer, project and brand management, to industries dealing with consumer durables, industrial equipment, building products, information technology, textiles, automotive foundry, and pharmaceuticals. He has been a volunteer with SPIC MACAY for several decades now. Arun sir has been the national chairperson of SPIC MACAY from 2015 till 2019. He has been a member of its national executive and has been central state facilitator for several states of India. Currently, he is the CSF for the Delhi NCR chapter. He has spoken at many forums about the need for education to be more holistic in order to make us more innovative and competitive. I now request Shri Arun Sahai sir to speak about the history of SPIC MACAY, its concept, its philosophy, and its importance for modern day students. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Professor 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐡𝐨𝐫, Dr. Aparna Jain, Dr. Sunita Singh, and friends. We have been hearing the famous quote that change is the only constant. Since I graduated from IIT Kharagpur in '69, in the 50 years, I have seen a fair amount of change. When I did my engineering, we used a slide rule for complex engineering calculations. The students today have not even heard of a slide rule. When I did management, digital marketing was an unheard of concept. So nobody has any idea what is going to happen in the future. Who knows what the world will be like 30 years from now? Yet education must prepare the youth for such a world. The children will see a future we will not. The purpose of education is not just to gather knowledge, but also develop people to deal with the world and develop in people an ability to think, imagine, innovate, and create. You should be able to apply your learning and your future learnings in the situations you will experience in the years ahead, and so succeed in life. Multiple studies link music study to academic achievement. Serious music training seems to correlate with success in other fields. To quote the late Steve Jobs, whom the youth would recognize because they use many Apple products, and I quote, "Innovation would require a blend of technology and liberal arts, and education systems should encourage such pollination rather than focus on narrow specialization," unquote. So innovation requires creativity. Our heritage instills such creativity. A rag is sung differently by different artists and by the same artist differently at different times. There is freedom within certain boundary constraints. Arts brings elements of abstraction and critical thinking which science subjects alone do not do. So what is it that will help you cope with the world in future? To my mind, it is our heritage that has been around for thousands of years. It is meditative, which will help the youth to concentrate and improve in their studies. Being innovative would help us make in India for the world. Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is the new slogan. In yoga, you concentrate as you inhale and exhale. In Nad Yoga, you concentrate on the note as you sing, and when it is different to the correct note, you have to concentrate to get the correct note. In dance, you concentrate to get the right posture. A musician requires enormous focus, attention, and practice. So if you take this ability to concentrate to your studies and whatever work you do, you will be more productive and will be able to study in less time as compared to others. One of the problems of the present generation is the ability to give prolonged attention. Today's social media wrongly teaches us to be superficial in our attention. You must give a chunk of time to achieve anything of depth. So it is not surprising that many eminent people were incidentally musicians. Our former president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, a missile scientist, played the veena. Dr. Ramanna, famous for the first atomic implosion in India, played the piano. The great mathematician Srinivasan Ramanujan had a classical music background. Albert Einstein, who predicted gravity waves 100 years ago, which we have only now verified, would have been a violinist if he was not a physicist. Dr. Manjul Bhargav, professor of mathematics at Princeton University and winner of the Fields Medal and equivalent of the Nobel Prize, has said there is something about classical music that made one more creative, even in other endeavors. He believes including classical music in the school curriculum, the country would produce not just better artists, but better scientists, judges, innovators, and in general, better human beings. He is himself a tabla player. Our culture is our identity. For no fault of theirs, our own youth are not aware of our culture. With the breakdown of joint families, the generational trickle down of culture is now missing. Parents are unable to take their children to Indian cultural performances because of their long office hours or the academic pressures of the children. I estimate 95% of our youth are not exposed to our heritage. Many will have the SPIC MACAY experience for the first time, and like many others, crave for more through the respective SPIC MACAY heritage clubs. What SPIC MACAY has been doing for the past 45 years in broadening education by taking the best artists in the country, Padma awardees, SNA awardees, to schools and colleges all over the country. We can now say the impact of SPIC MACAY's effort is felt in keeping our arts alive. Audiences today may not be as knowledgeable, but do appreciate the artists' performances. There is a spiritual, intellectual well-being of the children through SPIC MACAY's activities. The government realizes the importance of the work done by SPIC MACAY. The Ministries of Culture and Youth Affairs and Sports gives annual grants to SPIC MACAY. The Ministry of HRD, now the Ministry of Education, Government of India, has asked the directors of all IITs, NITs, IIMs, ISERs, SPAs, IIITs to provide funding of 10 lakhs every year for SPIC MACAY activities. Central universities in all states have been advised to have SPIC MACAY heritage clubs. Our new education policy 2020, recently announced by the government, now recognizes this. So arts is no longer extracurricular. It is very much curricular. IIT Kharagpur, I know, has been a pioneer in starting the School for Classical and Folk Arts. This school will give IIT Kharagpur students a positive boost in making it one of the finest institutions. I'm aware IIT Bombay and IIT Guwahati had engaged eminent artists as professors in residence so that students, faculty could come and get inspired by them and learn from them. So this is what makes SPIC MACAY relevant to you, the young generation. SPIC MACAY would develop leadership qualities in students who organize our conventions and programs and team working. This is done in a spirit of Nishkam Seva. There is a joy in giving. And these are the very things that you will value in later years. And these are not taught in textbooks. The more good performers there are, the more audiences grow and the arts flourish. If some art forms are allowed to perish, it will be impossible to revive the diversity and richness of yesteryears. Great discoveries of our inner selves made by our ancestors and reflected through Drupad, Kudiyattam, Rudravina, Sarangi, Gutuvadyam, today are on the verge of extinction. It is the youth of today who will be the audiences of tomorrow and help our culture to flourish. We encourage the crafts, which is the second largest provider of employment after agriculture. Students get a chance to learn from master craft persons in the intensive workshops that we organize. During SPIC MACAY conventions, youth from all parts of the country congregate to experience, share, interact, and discuss with eminent exponents. The artists are also from all parts of the country, north, south, east, west, and the northeast. This is national integration. As more facts are gathered, knowledge expands. New facts can render old facts and knowledge invalid. At one time, we thought the world is flat. We now know the world is round. SPIC MACAY logo represents that inner eye, the eye of perception and inquiry, ever alert in the pursuit of that eternal truth. Unfortunately, we have to have the orientation on the online mode. You will hear many young volunteers share their experiences during this orientation. That invariably is the best part of our orientation. If any of you have had prior experience with SPIC MACAY, I would request you to come forward and share it at the end of this orientation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shri Arun Zahai sir, for your inspiring speech. We will now play a video clip which will introduce the audience to the world of classical and folk music and classical and folk dance. I sincerely hope that all of you will get inspired when you watch and listen.
मति भ्रम भारी जननी मति भ्रम भारी सुनी सुत एक कथा कहूँ प्यारी।
बोले आप जानिए हम नहीं जाने। भाई तो कर्मदानी चिल्ला के बोले अर्जुन कहाँ हो? मैं यहाँ हूँ। भीष्म पितामह गुरु द्रोण के हाथ से बच गए। हाँ पर याद मेरे हाथ से बचना बहुत मुश्किल होगा। भाई आपको बचाने के लिए वरुण कुबेर इंद्र भी आ जाए, आपके प्राण बचना मुश्किल होगा।
It was truly an inspirational video. Now I invite Shri Jevan Naidu sir to speak about the diverse art modules provided by SPIC MACAY and the varied activities that SPIC MACAY has been organizing for the last 44 years. Jevan sir has been a volunteer with SPIC MACAY for more than a decade. Jevan sir is a chartered accountant by profession and by academic qualification and pursues North Indian classical music on the Hawaiian slide guitar by passion. Jevan sir firmly believes in the core philosophy of SPIC MACAY, reaching out to every child in the country with the rich heritage and culture of India. He is an executive committee member of Alliance Francaise, Hyderabad. I now request Jevan sir to kindly address the students. Over to you, Jevan sir.
Yeah, good evening to the principal, the management, all the students, and our senior volunteers, Arun Sai ji, Saraswati ji, and if Karan ji is also there. So I would like to brief you all a little bit about the activities that happen once you join and create your SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. The first one is the lecture demonstrations. So these are all programs which are conducted by top musicians of the country. As Arunji said, they're all national awardees, Padma awardees, they're all Sangeet Natak Academy awardees. So the lecture demonstrations happen for about 90 minutes in an institution where a proper performance is given by the artist who comes. And then after that, there is a question answer session also, as there is a lot of encouragement that students who would like to know more about the art form can directly interact with the artists and take the feedback about their inquiring minds. And then there is this workshop demonstration series, which generally happens in government schools. All institutions like your own college can also, other than hosting a program in your college, adopt nearby government schools and also give them an opportunity and take the artists there to the government schools and also conduct workshop demonstrations for the students. And then we have the Cinema Classics module. So in this module, classic films are screened in institutions. And after that, it's not only screening of the film and watching the film, but later on, once it's over, top directors like Shyam Benegal ji or people from the movie industry like Javed Akhtar ji and all come and they discuss about the movie, and the students also interact with them. In fact, in our ongoing online module now, in fact, since the last 2 years, Cinema Classics has been going on every Friday. In fact, all of you can also join that module and also participate. Other than this, there are the talks modules where eminent people come and talk on various subjects, environment, heritage, different aspects. And then again, there is interaction with the students. And we have the heritage walk module where walk happens in some of the heritage monuments. And after that, we have a historian who also guides the students about the monument, about the heritage and the history of the monument. Other than that, we have the intensives and workshops module. This can be 3 days, 5 days, depends on the how you would like to host it and the number of students. It's a small group of students who can gain insight into any particular art form, dance or vocal, and it's a small introduction into the art form, an intense introduction. Other than that, there is also the yoga module, the Nad Yoga and the Hatha Yoga module, which also takes place. During the last 2 years, we of course had only online Anubhav series. Otherwise, physically, the conventions are organized, state conventions for a particular state where certain institutions can host the state conventions, zonal conventions, and an annual international convention, which happened last at the JNU in Delhi. And they have also happened all over the country. Then we have also the rural school intensive module. In this rural school intensive module, also schools from the different rural parts of the country, like in a particular state, are brought together in one big school, and then there a 1 week to 10 days intensive, which includes lecture demonstrations, cinema classics, talks, everything, all these yoga, all take place for a week or 10 days. And then there is a national school intensive where one particular big school, large school, hosts a national school intensive, which generally takes place in the month of December, and where other participants from all schools all over the country come and participate. Then music in the park. This is, I think, the only module of SPIC MACAY where formally even everyone is invited. I mean, the public can participate. Otherwise, all the other modules generally happen in the educational institutions, especially for the students only. Yeah, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so then there are the Baithaks also, which are very intense interaction with the artists, about maybe 15 to 20 volunteers sitting in an informal setting and just discussing about art form with the artist. And the other modules I have already discussed with you all. And as our founder, Dr. 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐻 says, and as Dr. Arun Sai has just now spoken, so the whole process of this is the spirit of volunteerism. It is not all about, that once you students join this, you have to become a very good vocalist or a good dancer or a very good, speaker or something like that. That all development happens side by side. But the main aspect here is that all these aspects, if you participate and be a part of this, it brings in a lot of creativity and innovation in a young student. So this creativity and innovation is one of the most important things that will also help in studies, which will also help in the research. As it has been said, people like Albert Einstein, Dr. Ramana, APJ Abdul Kalam ji, and Manjul Bhargava, all these people, and many more, if you even see topmost scientists or, innovators. So they have always fallen back on some art, always. It's not always easy in your journey of creativity and innovation that straight away you get into it and you are getting the solution. So this aspect always helps to bring in the creativity and innovation, knowingly and many a times unknowingly. So therefore, it's very important to pursue them along with your studies. So other than this, also there is also Virasat module, where for more than about 3 days to 10 days, long-term Virasat can be also organized in your institutions. So thank you all, and we hope that you'll all be soon starting your heritage club, SPIC MACAY Heritage Club at your college. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaybasdar. Now I would like to invite Ms. Saraswati Subbu to speak. Saraswati ma'am retired as Associate Professor of English after teaching in Vivekanand College, University of Delhi for 40 years. She has been an active volunteer with SPIC MACAY since the year 1986. She works hard to promote an awareness about SPIC MACAY both in a college as well as in other colleges. She served as SPIC MACAY's national coordinator for the Gurukul Anubhav Scholarship Scheme for some years and also served as Central State Coordinator for SPIC MACAY activities in West Bengal and Odisha in 1990s. Currently, she is the chairperson and state coordinator of SPIC MACAY's Delhi and NCR chapter. Saraswati ma'am is deeply interested in and passionate about literature, art, culture, music, theatre, and spirituality. I now request Saraswati ma'am to kindly address the students and talk to them about the significance of SPIC MACAY Heritage Club in each educational institution, about its responsibilities and its crucial role in helping to take SPIC MACAY further ahead. Over to you, Saraswati ma'am.
Thank you so much, Simran, and a very, very good evening to all of you from Shivaji College, to the principal, Professor 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐴𝐚 𝐶𝐬𝐃, to Dr. Aparna Jain, whom I have had interaction with previously in connection with the organization of a cinema classic screening session for Shivaji College students. A very warm welcome to Dr. Sunita Singh, member of the faculty, member of the cultural committee, and a very hardworking organizer of, any activity which is being done by Shivaji College, be it the cinema classic screening or even be it this orientation. A very, very warm welcome to you, ma'am, and a very, very extensively warm welcome to all the very dear students of Shivaji College. I am extremely thrilled to know that Shivaji College is extremely interested in promoting SPIC MACAY activities within its campus, and I'm also equally delighted to hear from the principal that your college has a rich history of having had SPIC MACAY programs for several years in the past. Well, that is really wonderful news. It is very heartening to note that SPIC MACAY is something not new to your college. You have already had several activities. Now, what I am going to talk about is something which is very, very central and crucial to the continuation of SPIC MACAY within your college. And for that, I'm going to talk about the formation of the Heritage Club. Now, if you look at the slide on the screen, it says the Heritage Club and its objectives. At the outset, I would like to place on record a certain statement, and that is that I know, having been, in the teaching line in Delhi University for 40 years, I know for a fact that in perhaps almost every college, a heritage club exists. And I have come to know that even in a lot of schools, heritage clubs exist, which is very, very good, which is wonderful, because under the Heritage Club, one can conduct a variety of activities. But there is a very special request which I am putting across to you at Shivaji College, and I do it with every college with which we have an orientation, and that is that in addition to all the different other committees and societies and the Heritage Club, it would be very, very essential and very significant if you constitute a Heritage Club exclusively for SPIC MACAY, calling it the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. Now, why is it essential to call it a SPIC MACAY Heritage Club? Primarily because we at SPIC MACAY are very, very concerned about and interested in every educational institution making all possible efforts to promote among its students an awareness about SPIC MACAY and what it is doing. Actually, I'll just move a little away from this subject for just 2 minutes to tell you about how and why SPIC MACAY was created 44 years ago. Because Professor Kiran Seth, Professor of Mechanical Engineering and Operations Research at IIT, felt that both within the school curriculum and syllabus and within the college curriculum and syllabus, there were certain missing elements. And what were these missing elements? These missing elements primarily focused on an absence of awareness in the students in schools and colleges about our heritage. Our country's heritage is infinitesimally rich, diverse, varied, and intangible. And enshrined within this heritage are countless treasures as contained in our cultural traditions, our classical, historical, spiritual, and folk traditions. So it becomes very, very essential for any student during his or her education, both in school and college, to really get connected with one's roots, which lie within our virasat, within our heritage. And therefore, we felt very strongly and very firmly that every institution should come forward and set up the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club, because by setting it up, not only will you be promoting an awareness in your students through the planning and organization of SPIC MACAY activities with all our help and support and cooperation, but additionally, you will also be helping to keep this awareness about our heritage and connect the students to our heritage in a very, very ongoing and continuous manner. So the idea is we bring the students close to our heritage through all the activities. Jayavant sir spoke so extensively about all the varied activities that we have: lecture demonstrations, full-length concerts, workshops, talks, heritage walks, cinema classics, screenings, etc., etc. Now, the students need to stay connected for various reasons, not just for purposes of getting an awareness about it, which is of course very important, but as Arun sir very rightly and beautifully pointed out, staying connected with one's classical music and classical dance and folk music and other traditions, it really helps us evolve within ourselves. It helps us to embark on an internal journey, an interior journey into ourselves, exploring the supreme self which is within each one of us. And that becomes possible through a continuous exposure to our heritage. Therefore, what you need to do is you set up the Heritage Club, and I will tell you how to set it up in a minute or two. And you are helping the students in your college to get really sensitized to our beautiful and intangible heritage through different activities, and you go beyond it to help the world outside your college also. So the Heritage Club will function at dual levels, at two levels, at the micro level within the college and at the macro level outside the college. If you look at the slide on the screen, it says the idea is, the objective of the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club is to enrich the community by making its members experience the values of Indian tradition and heritage. So what do you do? How do you do it? You begin by inviting people from nearby institutions, nearby schools and colleges to your SPIC MACAY activities when you organize them. You know, all SPIC MACAY activities are open to the whole wide world. Our programs are not ticketed, they are totally free, and though they are held in institutions specifically for the students of the institution, others are also welcome. Supposing, for example, there is a government school in the neighborhood, you would be doing a great seva to that school by inviting the principal, a few teachers, and some children to come and attend a SPIC MACAY program when you do it in a physical offline mode. You will really be doing a very great service. And beyond that, by keeping your SPIC MACAY Heritage Club alive, you will be acting as a nodal center in an area of nearly 10 kilometers for all schools and colleges and other educational institutions nearby. So it would be wonderful if Shivaji College, which has a rich history of having had SPIC MACAY activities, creates this SPIC MACAY Heritage Club, sets it up, constitutes it, and keeps it alive, active, and functional in a very ongoing manner. And if you do that, you will really not only become a nodal center, you will become almost a mentoring institution for other institutions nearby which have never heard of SPIC MACAY, which have never had this SPIC MACAY experience at all. So it would be wonderful if Shivaji College can do that in West Delhi. It would be a great experience if you act as a nodal center and you become the mentoring institution, mentoring other schools and colleges nearby about the SPIC MACAY experience, right? Then you coordinate with SPIC MACAY chapters in neighboring cities, and of course with the central SPIC MACAY team, which is the Delhi Central SPIC MACAY chapter team. You stay in touch with us and you coordinate with any cities, small towns in the neighboring area. If there happens to be a small city somewhere around where your college is located, you can try and be dynamic and take SPIC MACAY to that town, to small schools and colleges in that town. Talk to them about what SPIC MACAY is, about how it is such an enriching experience for students who are studying in schools and colleges. It is almost like an alternative form of education because it is providing you with an awareness about our culture and our traditions. So it is very essential that you really get active within the college, both for the programs within your college, spreading awareness among all the students of your college about SPIC MACAY, and go beyond the walls of your college and start reaching out to the community at large to nearby schools and colleges and to towns in the neighboring area. Okay, now move to the second slide, please, Shiva. Yeah, now this tells you exactly about the structure of the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. Now the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club, the principal members of it, of course, are the principal and 2 faculty advisors who will remain in the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club in the role of guide and mentor. They will guide you and mentor you, the students, about how to go about your tasks and responsibilities. Now, the wonderful thing about SPIC MACAY, dear students, I would like to tell you is 95% of volunteers in SPIC MACAY, not just in Delhi, but all across India, are students. It is a movement of the students, by the students, and for the students. So, if students selected by the principal and the faculty coordinators in collaboration with the Dean of Students Welfare, if certain students are identified as very active with leadership qualities, with good social connectivity with other students, they are identified to be prospective office bearers in the Heritage Club. That would be absolutely wonderful. So among the office bearers, you have a program coordinator from the student members. Then you have another student as a joint coordinator, joint program coordinator. Because our activities are so diverse and so many, we need different student coordinators for different activities. So somebody can look after the classical arts, so another student can take care of the activities related to folk arts, somebody can take care of the crafts workshops, somebody can take care of the talk series, somebody else can take care of the heritage walk series, somebody else can take care of the cinema classic screenings. So what is the idea behind doing this? The idea behind doing this is to get the students involved in the functioning of this club. Once they are given these responsibilities, believe me, they do wonderful things. They do marvelous things. They produce excellent results, because I believe very firmly that in each and every student there are several talents, several skills and qualities which can be put to extremely good and creative use if they are handed over and assigned responsibilities within the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. I mean, you can have people who are excellent at graphic designing, who will be wonderful at making posters. You can have wonderful students who will have very creative and innovative ideas about website development, who will be very skilled at the technical side of handling SPIC MACAY activities, like Shivam is doing, for example, like Simran is doing, for example, managing the streaming of the program and the anchoring of the program. You can be very good at artists coordination. So we will connect you to the artist care team, and it is a delightful experience to coordinate with these artists. And all the artists of SPIC MACAY are all the top artists of India. They are all Padma awardees, Sangeet Natak Academy awardees, Sangeeta Kalanidhi awardees in Carnatic music. They are all top people. And interacting with them, students, I want to tell you, can give you immense joy, a joy which is indescribable. So really, you would be having a very enriching and very fulfilling experience if you not only set up the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club, but you are nominated by the principal and the faculty advisors as a student office bearers. And then after being made student office bearers, please go ahead and create a Google form to be circulated among all the students so that they can be also invited to become members. So collectively, you will start working actively within the SPIC MACAY club, carrying out all your tasks and responsibilities. Move to the final slide, please, Shiva. The final slide. Yes. Now, what are the tasks and responsibilities you need to address? The most important thing is to keep SPIC MACAY alive. You need to have weekly meetings. You can have weekly meetings very nicely when you are having offline offices and all. But even now, it is possible in the online mode. You can have small meetings where you invite the student office bearers, invite other members to come, and you invite the principal and the teacher coordinators to come and attend the meetings. And in the meetings, you can discuss different things. You can discuss the planning and organization of the Virasat series in your college. You can do a lot of brainstorming about it. Then you can also do other things like organize different kind of activities to keep the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club alive. You can invite somebody to come and give you a talk. Maybe a talk, as you know, not necessarily a very, very big person, but somebody who is working very hard for some very important social issue or social concern. You could invite them, maybe somebody who is passionate about environment. You could invite them to come and give a talk, or you could invite a writer to come and give a talk and talk about the importance of writing and why writers write. You could invite a poet, you could invite a novelist, you could invite anyone, or you could even get hold of a good film, not a Bollywood commercial film, but a good film, and have a screening of it. And after the screening of it, with your teachers and your principal and all the other members, you can sit and have a very detailed discussion about the film and about the issues and concerns raised by the film. So there are different ways and means by which you can keep your SPIC MACAY Heritage Club alive during the weekly meetings. You can invite people from neighborhood schools and colleges to also join your weekly meetings, so that you would be doing a great service by bringing them also into the ambit of all your discussions and your activities and your talks and other kinds of things. So this is why the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club is very crucial and very important, because the student population is a floating population. You are in college for 3 years. Then by the time you come to the 3rd year and you come to your final semester, your priorities naturally will change. You will be focusing on your studies, on the final exams, on sitting for entrance exams for higher studies, on career prospects, on different things. But if you have been a very, very active SPIC MACAY student volunteer in your college, then you have to hand over the responsibility to the juniors, to the 2nd years, and to the 1st years. So that becomes possible only via the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. It gives a great sense of continuity to the movement within your institution, and believe me, the SPIC MACAY chapter in your college will grow stronger and stronger. And I'm telling you, very soon, if you do this, not only will you become a nodal center, you will become a mentoring institution. You can mentor all the nearby schools and colleges. I know Rajdhani is nearby, Shama Prasad is nearby, Bharati Mahila College is nearby, a lot of other colleges are nearby. Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies is also nearby. You can be the mentoring institution. It will be the most fulfilling and challenging experience to be a mentoring institution. And students can develop their leadership skills, their powers of communication. They can do wonderful things by doing these different things during the weekly meetings. I'll stop here because I think I overshot my time limit, but I hope you take this matter up seriously with the principal and the faculty advisors and the Dean of Students Welfare, and you go ahead and you set up the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club. I will mail to you the guidelines and the rules and regulations for the setting up of the Heritage Club. You can share it with everyone, with the principal, with the teachers, and with the students, so that you get a clear idea about how to go about doing this very, very crucial work for spreading an awareness about SPIC MACAY. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being so very patient all this while. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am, for your enlightening words. Now we present to you a short video in which young volunteers will talk about SPIC MACAY.
Namaskar. SPIC MACAY, the Society for the Promotion of Indian Classical Music and Culture amongst the Youth, is a voluntary movement that has been around for more than 4 decades now. The aim of the movement is to bring our rich cultural diversity to our youth, and in turn to bring the youth of the country closer to our culture and heritage.
In the year 1972, the Brooklyn Academy of Music in New York featured 2 of the greatest maestros of Dhrupad, Ustad Nasir Aminuddin Nagar and Ustad Zia Fariduddin Nagar. Amongst many who attended this concert, one person returned feeling inspired by something that was mystical in the music he heard. And 5 years later, SPIC MACAY was born. In the year 1977, SPIC MACAY was started as a non-political, non-profit, voluntary, participatory students movement by Professor 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐿𝐴 of the IIT Delhi.
The millennia-old cultural heritage of the world has in it several inspiring humanistic ethos and values. They are entangled in its abstract, subtle, sometimes even mystical aspects like art, meditation, philosophies, spiritual practices, customs, so on and so forth. SPIC MACAY takes the most learned gurus of these fields to the youngsters in schools and colleges, so that these values are rightfully transferred to them, and they in turn take this to the broader society, leading to a more meaningful and sustainable development.
The vertical eye of SPIC MACAY represents the inner eye of wisdom and perception. Opening of this inner eye embarks on an inner journey within oneself.
हम भारतीय सांस्कृतिक विरासत की मरती हुई कलाओं को, उनके विभिन्न रूपों को संजोए रखने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं. जैसा कि डॉक्टर सेठ कहते हैं, सेव द टाइगर बट ऑल्सो द रुद्रवीणा.
SPIC MACAY covers a variety of aspects in our activities, from classical to folk art forms, to cinema, theatre, heritage walks, and talks by eminent and inspiring personalities.
To take the legends of various genres of our modules to the youngsters, we conduct numerous formats of well-experimented activities like lecture demonstrations, workshop demonstrations, international convention, rural school intensives, and above scholarships, etc.
To these various activities, every year, we arrange more than 5,000 programs in more than 1,500 institutions across almost 1,000 cities, touching over 3 million students.
To create such an impact, we stand on the shoulders of the 4 pillars of SPIC MACAY: the artists, the volunteers, the institutions, and the supporters.
Having a SPIC MACAY chapter or heritage club in your institution will enable your students to interact with and get inspired by many amazing artists and gurus.
हर वर्ग के व्यक्ति के लिए SPIC MACAY के बहुत से पहलू हैं जहां आप योगदान कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि आर्टिस्ट मैनेजमेंट, ग्लोबल आउटरीच, वॉलंटियर इंडक्शन, फाइनेंस, मीडिया, डिजाइन, वेब डिजाइनिंग और भी कई ऐसे माध्यम जहां आपकी रुचि हो, उसके साथ आप हमारे साथ जुड़ सकते हैं.
So please find your space and volunteer with us. Let's make some impact together. Give 10% of your time and energy to this beautiful movement called SPIC MACAY. Namaskar.
Moving forward, I now invite Shri Karan Nanda sir to speak about the importance of volunteerism and the experience of volunteering with SPIC MACAY. Karan sir is a dairy technologist. He has passion for theatre. He did theatre in college and theatre circuit in Delhi. He was the NDDB in product development and worked with Mother Dairy in various capacities. Karan sir has been with SPIC MACAY as a very dedicated and committed volunteer for many years now. He has coordinated various modules very successfully. He is the principal coordinator of SPIC MACAY activities in Noida and Greater Noida. Karan sir, I request you to kindly speak now. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simran, and a very good evening to all. It's lovely to see, such a large number of students, faculty of Shivaji College have come together to, take part in this great movement of ours. And of ours means I'm including you also, because not only just us now, because by this time, all of you have got a very, very good idea of, what SPIC MACAY is all about, what are we doing, what is it all about, and what it's been doing from all these years. So basically, you've heard what we do, how we do it, what all is available, and so now is the time for you to take action, because you're students, young and active. So after listening to all this, the next step is get into it and figure out, because when you listen, when you see, when you read, you get a fairly good idea. But when you really experience it yourself, when you get into it, then you really know what we are all about, what this great movement is all about. So you've heard that this whole movement is run by the volunteers. It's a voluntary movement, and we've got volunteers here for years together who've been here with us since maybe when they were in college, and they joined, and they are here still today. Maybe their grandchildren are in school studying, but the volunteers are still here with us. That's the power of this movement. See, when we talk of heritage, we understand that heritage is something handed down over by our forefathers. And normally the basic, concept of heritage is jo hamari jaidad hoti hai, and, what is handed over to us, the materialistic things, and see how much we take care of that. But this is something, this is like Arun Sahaji said earlier, ye hamari pehchan hai. This is our, identity. Our cultural heritage, our Indian cultural heritage is our identity as Indians. That really identifies us and, marks us as when we, anybody, says, okay, you are an Indian. So the picture which comes to mind is, first of all, our cultural heritage. That, wow, this is what India is all about. And so what I'll do is, by this time, of course, you've also heard about what all you can do as volunteers. I'll go through a very brief list, not very exhaustive, but just to prep up your memory a bit. And so that you can also prepare your own checklist. Okay, this is where I can chip in. This is where I can help as a volunteer, because now you would, like I said, it's time for action. Come in, choose your calling and get into the act. So the first thing, about volunteerism, and volunteerism, like we talked, it's Nishkam Seva. Nishkam Seva means getting nothing in return. But the fact is, I've been here for a long period of time in SPIC MACAY. And I sometimes find, that I'm getting back much more than I'm putting in. Now, this is not because I wanted it, but this is because the way things are. And this is something, again, a beautiful part of it. The more you put in, the more you're going to get back. And get back, of course, not in terms of material inputs or outputs, but in terms of your spiritual and physical and your mental satisfaction, and so many other things. Like Arun Sahaji also said, it sharpens you, it makes you a better scientist even. There's so many things you can get out of it. So the first thing is that our culture, Indian culture is thousands of years old. and it is respected and revered not just in India, but across the world too. And it is our, well, I would say it's my duty to see that it's preserved, protected, and propagated. And who can do that is the youth, so that it continues. We hand it over to you, you hand it over to your juniors, and so on it goes on. So that's always there. The second aspect is, we have got gurus. Again, these gurus are gurus who are respected throughout the world, not just in India. And you will be actually rubbing shoulders with them, imbibing the spirit with which they become such great gurus, the kind of aura they sort of emote, and you will be getting first-hand experience talking to them and just imbibing that great spirit. And that is something which is very, very privileged, I must say, because before I joined the organization, I mean, I never knew what that meant, but once I came into it, I realized that this is something which is very, very privileged. The third thing is, the managing and the planning of all the programs and the events and the concerts will be done by you, the volunteers. So you will get a first-hand experience in managing of events and handling people, handling the various jobs involved in carrying out a performance or a concert with great expertly. And then the comparing. So when the concert or the programs are being held, you will be the compares, you will be taking the stage yourself. So obviously that will help you hone your public speaking skills, your confidence, and so many other things. As we already said earlier, that we have a great publicity team, because we need to publicize our program so that more and more people and youngsters, they get to know about this, that there is such a movement which is there, which they can join and experience. So the publicity team, if you are so inclined to, you can join that team, help and give your inputs, or simply just learn from them that how we handle this in different medias, and be part of that team. You could choose that. The other thing is, as soon as this COVID set in, and like Arunji also said, we want to get back soon to our live interactions, but then till this is over, we have to do all this online. And we have a technical team which handles this, and if you are so technically inclined, you could be part of the team, help that team, or like I said, simply even learn from them and move on from there. So that is another opportunity which is there. Then we have, there are no, like say, if you are a volunteer, there is no fees to join, and there is no fees or any, charges to see our programs. This is all because it's a movement to propagate the culture. They do not charge anything. So, but we do need funds and finance, because things cost, externally for the publicity and so many other things for the inputs. So we have another finance fundraising team. And if you are so inclined, or if you have that knack of getting people to, loosen their money strings, you can join our fundraising and a finance team, help out there. And more so, this whole movement, it's basically a family. We are a very informal sort of a, group of people. And like I said, there will be people, some of our volunteers will be, who've been here for years. And if you join, you will be, like I said, hobnobbing with them. So it's a very informal organization. And there is no, that I'm senior or junior. You just get in and pitch in and do whatever you can. And here again, I would say that do whatever you can means exactly you. How much time you want to give. I mean, we don't have a timetable that you have to spend so many hours a week, or so many hours a month, or whatever. You have to choose how much time you have, how much time you can give, how much energy you can devote to this, how you can devote, and in which aspect you can contribute. So it is for you to decide. But the thing is, when you come in, you become part of this family. and not just as a volunteer or a name in the in our list. We are just a part of a family, helping each other to carry out the task and see that everything is done shipshape. So I would suggest, you need not, jump in and join and say, okay, I'm part of SPIC MACAY. Come in here, give your names to your student coordinator, whosoever the faculty member is. Give your names, your details of communication, and come in and see for yourself. Spend some time with us. See for yourself what is there and what are you comfortable with. We'll help you with that. If you are not sure of what you can do, or you are still not decided, or if you are still not understood, you can contact any of us anytime and we'll help you with that. But the fact is, now after listening to all this, all of us come in, join, and just be part of it for some time. But I'm sure the moment you come in, like, when I came in, I didn't know what I was getting into. But now I find I can't get out. And not because, somebody's holding me back, but it's just I don't want to. And that's the beauty of this movement. So come in and you'll be here. And maybe at some point of time, you'll be telling your children or grandchildren, hey, come on now, take their hands and bring them into the movement. So thank you so much for listening and have a great day. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, Karan sir, for your inspiring words. I do hope that students will certainly feel motivated to join SPIC MACAY as volunteers. We will now play a video in which Professor 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐿, founder of SPIC MACAY, will make an appeal to young students to volunteer with SPIC MACAY.
My dear friends, SPIC MACAY, the Society for the Promotion of Indian Classical Music and Culture amongst Youth, is a voluntary movement and is trying to bring the best of our heritage into the lives of young people. Now, in a voluntary movement, what is the first thing that's required? Obviously, volunteers. See, in a company, what you do is you set up a big setup and then you hire people. But in a voluntary movement, you first get the people and then you look for a place and money and all the other things. So the most important ingredient in a movement like ours are volunteers. And therefore, I'm requesting you to give a little bit of your time to this lovely movement. And if you can't, then look for somebody, friends, Romans, countrymen, who can give a little bit of their time. Anyone from the age of about 15 till 75, 80, who is a little active and who can give a little bit of their time. It could be housewives, it could be retired people, it could be staff members, students, etc., etc., etc. But I really request all of you to try to bring this wonderful idea of Nishkam Seva back into society. Today, NGOs are largely speaking very professionally run, but we have purposely kept it as a voluntary movement because we wanted to bring this encouragement, we wanted to encourage this concept of giving without expectation. This used to be one of the wonderful things in our society at one time. Today, everything has become a transaction. I give you something, then you give me back something. But here, I often call this law of Nishkam Seva is something like the Newton's third law of motion. The Newton's third law of motion says to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. But here, there's to every action, the reaction far exceeds the action, but does not come from where the action is placed. It gets multiplied, 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 and then comes from somewhere else. There's only one rider. If you expect, it gets broken. So therefore, this concept is one very integral part of the thinking process in SPIC MACAY. And therefore, we would like to have really truly volunteers who want to give of themselves without expecting anything in return. Now, this is a very difficult call, I know. People do expect whenever they give, whatever they give, they would like to get something back. But the less you expect, it's a progressive thing. It happens progressively. When you start giving, then you go with some expectation. But as you keep on giving, you find that the level of expectation keeps coming down. And finally, it should come to that level where you don't expect anything. And that itself is a very, very great thing. So therefore, I'm requesting all of you to give a little bit of your time to this movement, which is trying to bring some aspects into the lives of young people which are sorely missing. A little amount of abstraction, a little amount of subtlety, a little amount of inspiration, and a respect for the mystical. I remember what Birju Maharaj Ji used to say. He said that mere guru ke bade bade मूछे the, and he was very fat, matlab stout. And when he did the Radha Krishna theme, he just with his eyes, from one side he went, from being Krishna, with his eyes he became Radha. And he said that nowadays if I try it, it'll just get missed. Nobody will be able to see it. Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahab used to say, आजकल वाह वाह करवाने वाले बहुत हो गए, पर निकलवाने वाले गिने चुने रह गए. So these are some of the things which are missing in our lives today. Everything has become entertainment, very little of elevation. All these aspects can be brought in if we concentrate a little bit on our heritage. And therefore, I'm requesting you for your support and your help. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now, the chat box has been enabled for the question and answer session. You can type your questions in the chat box or press the raise hand icon to ask your questions. I would like to call Ms. Saraswati Subbu ma'am for the question and answer session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Anyone can answer. I mean, Arun sir is here, Jaivan sir is here, Karan sir is here. Anyone can answer, but we are all ready to answer any questions. I mean, we open it to the students to ask whatever questions you want. You can type it in the chat box, or you can press the raise hand icon, and then you'll be unmuted and requested to ask your question. We are ready to answer.
We have the first question with us. Prem has asked, how can I be the part of SPIC MACAY?
I think Karan sir, would you like to answer this? Karanji, would you like to answer?
Okay. So like I said, it's very easy. You have to be passionate. You have to see, I want to do it. That's all. So if you say, and if you see the smile in your face when you come to us, I'll say, okay, you are already part of SPIC MACAY. The moment you get it into your heart, like I said, we are a very informal kind of organization. Now, so being part, I said, come into it, give your name to your student coordinator, or you can even call us up and, talk to us about it. But you just have to say, I want to be part of SPIC MACAY with a big smile, and that's it. So no forms, no fees, no nothing. Be there. And the other thing is, we have so many programs going on, and you can just be part of those and come and join those programs. See for yourself what is happening, in the front of the screen and behind it, and talk to us. We'll get you to talk to other volunteers too. and just come in and we'll help you through. So it's very, very informal. Today only, like if you have said, okay, how do I be part of it? The next thing you have to say, I want to be part of it. This is my name, address, and number, and I'm here, and we'll help you through it. That's all. And if you have a student coordinator there, a faculty member who can, just compile all the names of the volunteers, just get them together, give them, you can give them to us also, and we'll help you out on that. There's nothing more to it. Very, very informal, and just step in. I mean, if that answers a bit of what you were looking for.
Thank you so much for answering that question, sir. We have a next question. Can we watch any movie we want to in cinema classics?
Yes, of course you can. Because as I told you, any SPIC MACAY program, every SPIC MACAY program is open to the whole wide world. So at the moment, cinema classic screenings is being done in the online mode every Friday at 6 o'clock. Your college itself came and was the host institution for a cinema classic screening, where you had the screening of the film Fanny and Alexander. It was done with the help and cooperation of Dr. Aparna Jain and Dr. Sunita Singh. So every Friday without fail, if you want, you can join. We will let you know what the film is which is going to be screened. Day after tomorrow, on Friday, the 11th, there is an Odia film called Indradhanu Chai, which is being screened. Let me tell you, all the films that are screened, whether they are in regional Indian languages or in foreign languages, they all have English subtitles. Perhaps the only films which don't have English subtitles are the films which are made in Hindi, which are very occasional and rare. So please come, you are welcome, all of you are welcome. The more the merrier. All of you are welcome to join the Cinema Classic screening. I'll give you the link. You can note it down in your diary. bit Zoom link bit.ly bit.ly/SM Cinema Classic. Continuous SM Cinema Classic. CINEMACLASSIC. I will share the poster with your teachers and with your cultural secretary so that it can be circulated, and you are most welcome to join. And this is not just about cinema classic screening. You are invited to join our weekend programs. We have two lovely programs on Saturday. One is called the Great Masters series at 3 o'clock from 3 to 4:30 on Saturday, which is all about the great masters of classical music who are no longer alive. Their disciples come and they talk about learning from their gurus and answer questions from the students. And then we play video recordings of the great gurus. Then on Saturday evening from 6 to 7:30, we have the classical evening. There we invite living classical musicians and dancers to come and give a performance, talk about their own art and their own journey, and then they answer questions from the students, and it is a very fulfilling experience. And on Sundays, we have the Crafts, Folk and Talk series from 12 to 1:30, where we invite a craftsman, usually a national or a state award-winning craftsman, who comes and talks about his craft and the history of his craft, the origins of his craft, and then does a practical demonstration of that particular craft. If it happens to be traditional painting, then he will actually show how the painting is to be made. And if the children who are belonging to the host institutions are there, They are told in advance, please get all this art material for yourself. It could be A4 size sheets along with all the art materials like pencil, paints, brushes, etc., etc. And as he demonstrates, the students actually do the drawing and the painting, and then they show it to the craftsman who guides them further. Otherwise, we don't have a craftsman, we call a folk musician who talks about the uniqueness of the folk music that he sings. Also, a little history about the land from where the folk music comes. And then he gives a performance. And if students want to ask questions, they can ask questions. So please come for all our weekend programs. I think that would be the first step. Just start attending all our programs. You will get interested, and then you'll really want to be attached to SPIC MACAY. You'll really want to volunteer. Or, as Karan sir very rightly said, you give your names to your faculty coordinators. They will forward it to us, and then we will direct you accordingly to the concerned area, whether it's media and publicity or the technical team or website development or finance generation or artist coordination or whatever it is. We will direct you to the concerned people. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add about the cinema classics. It's very important that there's a list in SPIC MACAY of the award-winning films. It's very important. Only those can be screened. Like other than Fridays, if your college wants to screen on some other day, it can definitely screen. But there's a list of award-winning films, and there's a format. After that, there should be a discussion, a talk, some eminent director or someone comes and participates. So all the Hollywood, Bollywood are not welcome, the films. Yeah, there's an award-winning list. Thank you.
Very relevant point. Thank you, Javed sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am and Jevan sir. Moving on to the next question, we have how many events will we have in a year in SPIC MACAY Heritage Club?
There's no limit. You can organize as many as you want. The more enthusiastic you are to have more programs, the more you organize. There's no limit. You can have an activity of the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club every week if you want to, for which you need advanced planning. Of course, this is separate from your Virasat series, which is different. Virasat series, you have to coordinate with us. Within the SPIC MACAY Heritage Club, you people think of what are the activities that you want to do and you conduct them.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question. We have another question. Can people interested in Indian fine arts also join the movement? Is SPIC MACAY doing anything for fine arts as well?
You can join the movement, most welcome, because in crafts we have a lot of traditional painting craftsmen coming every Sunday, and we organize workshops in crafts also, 5 days workshops, which is an activity in itself. Every day 2 hours, depending on the time which is convenient to students. You can have a 5 days workshop in painting, in Madhubani painting, in Mughal miniature painting, Cheriyal painting from Andhra, Telangana, mural painting from Kerala, Patachitra painting from Odisha or West Bengal, Patua painting and Kaligat painting from West Bengal, tribal painting, Gond painting from Rajasthan. There's no end to the limit, to the number of traditional painting forms. So you can have a crafts workshop, most welcome. But in the offline mode, you can have more number of students. In the online mode, it is a little restricted because the craftsman will have to focus on the work that each of the students is doing via the online session. It is a little less than when you do it offline.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a question posted by Mohan. Are workshops exclusive to Indian cultures only?
Jayavant sir, would you like to answer this? Since you've organized so many workshops.
Yeah. Mhm. See, most of the workshops are based on Indian art, classical music, but SPIC MACAY has also got a very big tie-up with Norway. So a lot of musicians from Norway have come and they have given their presentations and also had workshops in different institutions. So it depends on the timing when they come, like when once in 2 years, 3 years, they keep coming. And at that time, even these programs are offered to the institutions. So it is basically a worldwide movement, but most of our programs happen which are around Indian heritage and Indian culture, because this is an aspect which is much ignored, because even though it is very much around us. For example, in Telangana, serial painting, just 30 kilometers away, students in universities were not aware about the serial painting around themselves. So, I mean, it becomes so very, strange. So when we go and ask them, they find, yes, serial painting is very much, just 30 kilometers away, the village was there, where university students were not at all aware. While we were traveling from hundreds of kilometers and getting the artists to the cities, for example, why I am telling this aspect is, in a small thing like a serial painting, if I can tell you how the red color comes from which stone, how the black color is taken from which natural, the smoke, the element, the white color, the blue indigo from which flower they take different colors, how they make the cloth, that cloth which is, there is so much work done on a cloth before painting. It survives for nearly 200, 300 years on its own. Well, any new paper, if we just paint, it may just go bad. So there is so much history around us itself. So we are just trying to discover all of that and make it available to the students.
Workshops are there, students, in, crafts. The maximum number of workshops are in the field of crafts. But we also have workshops in classical music, vocal, that is not instrumental, in classical dance, and we have workshops in yoga and meditation also. We conduct all these 5 days workshops.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering all the questions. Thank you so much, Jayavant sir. I think it's a wrap for the Q&A round. Now I request Dr. Sunita Singh, ma'am, to say a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
There is, Simran, there is one long question. I think you need to read out. There is a
Okay,
slightly
ma'am,
lengthy. Please do read out.
Yes, ma'am. The question is, I have had listened to many Hindustani classical concerts of many artists for last many years, but now I don't get to see the SPIC MACAY concert posters now for last 2 years. And if I want to join website of SPIC MACAY, I don't know about SPIC MACAY's official website. So could you please tell us the website name where I can join the programs?
Yeah, www.spicmacay.org. And also the official handles are there on Twitter, on Instagram, and also Facebook.
Please take note of the website www.spicmacay.org. This is our website. Please visit it and you will get a lot of information. And as Jayavant sir said, there are the social media handles, the Twitter and Instagram handles, and we have a Facebook page as well.
That was the last question posed. Thank you so much again, ma'am, for answering all the questions. Now I request Dr. Sunita Singh, ma'am, to say a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi. I'm audible, Simran?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, sure. A very good evening to respected Arun Sahaji, Jayant Naidu sir, Saraswati madam, an active and dynamic volunteer of SPIC MACAY and our bridge of association, Shri Karan Nanda ji, our principal sir, Professor 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐴𝐚 �SPIC Dr. Aparna Jain, convener of the Cultural Committee, Shivaji College, the faculty members who are present over here, and dear students who are here today on this platform. My heartfelt thanks to each one of you for making this SPIC MACAY's orientation session possible and successful indeed. Introducing you to the aura of SPIC MACAY was to create an intense awareness about the priceless treasures and values of humanity, which are enshrined in the diverse traditions of our country's rich culture and intangible heritage. Hope the session has given you a true an opportunity to get introduced to our country's top artists who are Padam Shri awardees and Sangeet Natak Academy awardees. Such sessions have helped the youth, and we too, I think, in inculcating the deep sense of acknowledgement and appreciation for our culture, heritage, and traditions. We are indebted to founder of SPIC MACAY, Professor 𝐾𝐧𝐜𝐡𝐨𝐵, sir, for his vision and mission to start the SPIC MACAY campaign, I can say. I'm glad to be associated with the same institute from where 𝐾𝐧𝐜𝐡𝐨𝐵 sir is. The best part is the informal atmosphere, the interest, the dedication of the volunteers. Once I got connected because of Cinema Classics, which we screened for the Shivaji College last year in August. And I don't know from how I have got connected, and I'm the one, I think I'm attending the weekly meetings as well. It is total magic influence, which we say in Hindi, it is pura jadoo hai. Pata nahi hum ma'am se kab connected ho gaye, or being from science background, I don't know, because I always wanted to be part of SPIC MACAY, but when when I was given the responsibility of organizing the SPIC Cinema Classics, and from that time onwards, I think we are normally in connection with Saraswati madam, and on and off, I think, and not missing a day, we always exchange messages and all. Thank you, ma'am. We will surely be connected with SPIC MACAY. I'll be consulting, I'll be with the permission of our principal sir and the convener of the cultural committee. We will get connected, and we do have the consent form, and we will surely move ahead with the number of activities which will be organized in Shivaji College under the umbrella of SPIC MACAY. I convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to Saraswati ma'am for making this happen and granting us the opportunity to organize this orientation session for the students of our college. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Over to Simran, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sunita ma'am. Now I would like to invite Saraswati ma'am to present the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Simran, and very many thanks to you, Dr. Sunita, for the very kind words that you have said about SPIC MACAY, about Dr. 𝐀𝐧𝐜𝐡𝐨𝐵, about all of us, and about me. I don't know, I try my best to do the maximum that I can to spread, the word about SPIC MACAY everywhere, all around, wherever I go, whenever I go, whichever person I meet. So I would like to place on record my deep gratitude to Shivaji College for having come forward and requested for an orientation. This clearly indicates that the consequence of having the Cinema Classic screening way back in August 2021 has really got people interested in SPIC MACAY and has made them keen to have this orientation. So I'm very, very grateful to Shivaji College, to your principal, Professor Shivkumar Sehdev, to Dr. Aparna Jain, the convener of the cultural committee, with whom I have had a lot of interactions before we had the cinema classic screening, to Dr. Sunita Singh, of course. I have very frequent interactions with her, and I keep telling her that we must have a lot of students and teachers from the college also coming into the SPIC MACAY family and joining us. I would like to thank the very, very dear students of Shivaji College who have been patiently listening to all of us and watching everything all these last 2 hours. It is really I'm very thankful to all of you. It's really wonderful that you have stayed on, and I thank you. I thank each and every one of you students for the lovely questions that you asked. I hope we have been able to answer them in a way which has satisfied you. I would like to thank my fellow volunteers, senior volunteers, Shri Arun Sahai sir, who is the Central State Facilitator for Delhi chapter. He is a pillar of support for the Delhi chapter, and he is always there for advice and guidance whenever I need it. So thank you, Arun sir, for coming forward so readily for orientation after orientation whenever I invite you. I thank Jaivat Naidu sir for agreeing to come at such short notice in spite of his very, very hectic office schedule and his official responsibilities. Thank you thank you very much for having kindly agreed to come today and spoken so extensively about the activities and modules. I would like to thank Shri Karan Nanda sir, another wonderful, wonderful senior volunteer who is always there available to come and be of help anytime and every time there is an orientation. He is extremely helpful and he comes forward readily, and he is a wonderful person when it comes to orientation because he communicates so excellently with the students. Thank you so much, Karanji, for coming. And I would like to thank Shivam Agarwal for lovely streaming of the orientation, smooth flow of the PowerPoint presentation, and the playing of the 4 video clips. Thank you, Shivam. I would like to thank Simran for wonderful anchoring. You will make a wonderful anchor in SPIC MACAY. So maybe I'll catch you tonight itself, and I'll pass on your details to the anchoring team so that whenever and wherever they want anchors, I can always recommend your name to them. Thank you, Simran. And I would like to thank Khushwant, the silent worker, the silent student worker, the cultural secretary of Shivaji College, for silently working, but working very hard over the last few days to make this orientation happen. He has been very helpful. He has been in touch with me, and he has worked very hard to put everything together, to bring all the students, the teachers, the principal, and all of us together. Thank you very much, Kushwan. And I really appeal to all of you, please do come forward and join SPIC MACAY, volunteer within your own college, and come beyond it and volunteer with the central team of SPIC MACAY, because we really need volunteers. If we want to achieve our goal of reaching every child in this country, taking SPIC MACAY to each and every child in this country by the year 2025, we really need lakhs and lakhs of volunteers. So it will be wonderful if you could come forward and you could volunteer. My telephone number and my email details are with the teachers as well as with these 3 students. Anyone who wants to volunteer can reach out to me, and I will forward your names to the concerned team, and they will guide you accordingly about volunteering. And I will share, I promise you, I will share all the posters of not only the weekend programs, but every program which is happening in Delhi or any other part of the country or any other part of the world. I'll share it with you. And lastly, but most importantly, I invite all of you to please join us in the weekly online meeting of the Delhi SPIC MACAY chapter, which happens every Sunday between 3 and 4:30 p.m. on a Google Meet link. I send out the mails in advance and the WhatsApp messages in advance. But I'm telling you today itself, please do join us on Sunday between 3 and 4:30. It will be lovely to have new volunteers join the meeting, because in every meeting we try to bring new speakers to talk about the conceptual aspects of SPIC MACAY, apart from discussing all the other details like planning and organizing activities and having orientations and setting up heritage clubs, etc., etc. So a very warm welcome to all of you for the Sunday meeting. I extend an open invitation to all of you to come. Please do join, and I really will be very, very thankful if we get many volunteers from Shivaji College. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am, for your kind words. Before moving forward, I would request everybody present in the meeting to switch on their videos for a quick picture. We have enabled the video setting. Done, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in today's orientation. The orientation thus has come to an end. Dhanyavad, namaskar.
Thank you, Simran. Thank you so much.